It's the Big Brother Rewind. This is Sean.
This is Chris.
And
this is Christina.
Oh, a
we're
meager Christina.
today.
Christina on Instagram.
Oh, she's
There
giving
you go.
herself
Oh,
plugs
dang.
already. Wow, look
That's
at that. We're
Christina.
30 seconds in.
Already
Shameless
plug him.
plugs.
Yeah.
This is my wonderful, beautiful wife, Christina, joining us for the very first time. She and I
don't
watch
know
Big
you like
Brother all
that.
the time. You're a Big Brother fan, right?
Yeah. I started watching it with you in 2005?
Yeah.
2006?
Longtime fan. And you watch the seasons until you get bored with them, which is typically like halfway through.
That's hilarious. Well, guys,
there was a span of a few years where I didn't. Yeah, I would watch the beginning and then come back in the end. But I always listen to Rob has a podcast and catch up on everything.
All the shows that talk about it. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do this real quick, guys. If you're new to us, go hit that subscribe button. We do this here whenever we have. Well, it's weekly. I mean, Big Brother's kind of been throwing us for a loop, deciding to change their schedule on a whim. But we do this. We do trailer reactions. Check out the channel. If you like any of that, hit that like button, the subscribe button. And, the like button here is actually covering Christina's face, which is kind of funny. So if you like that too, go ahead and hit that button. So let's dive into this. We got a lot this past Sunday night.
We did. Yeah, you can see by the graphic here, I updated it. We've got Joe Pucciarelli, Pooch. He's gone. Paloma, of course, from last week. She's gone. Due to those circumstances. We talked all about that last week. But Pooch screwed the Pooch, man, this week. He really shot himself in the foot.
He was such an idiot. I love the fact that both him and Taylor were both sitting on the block, both thinking they were pawns, both completely oblivious to what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Taylor never trusted it. The girls kept telling her that she was safe, but understandably, she just did not trust it.
Yeah, it was a last minute thing. I mean, Taylor was the target going in.
Yeah.
And then the minute Pooch was like, I'll go up, I'll put myself up, I'm going to, make a big play early. They're like, oh, so we can get you out now? But we didn't even think you were a target. Now you make yourself a target. Good job there.
So we will rewind back to the beginning here where it was not Nicole, but Jasmine. Jasmine that won. Had a household in the pie eating contest competition. What do you guys think of this competition?
I couldn't have done it. There's no way I could have done that.
I liked it. It was fun.
I liked it because it was like a lot of these competitions. It seems like they're geared towards, athleticism, I guess. But I feel like anybody could have won this one.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have been able to pick out the T or the F. I don't know if I could have done that.
With just mouthfeel when you got a
face nope, I don't. Yeah, no. We'll leave that be. But I don't think I could have figured it out.
Yeah, it looked gross. I wonder if it was like pudding they were going through or what. But
it had to be like something
definitely
edible.
pudding. Yeah.
What if it was like slop, just colored slop?
I think there's a lot more chunks in slop. That looks pretty smooth. But yeah, I like the competition too. They went through it and ended up being Michael and Jasmine at the end. Jasmine came through. She was happy. You can see Jasmine's injured ankle there. She really did a number on herself that previous episode.
It worked out for her in her best interest. If it was anything other than sitting down, like doing something like that, there's no way she could have actually competed and won.
Yeah.
So it worked out for her. I mean, I was happy to see her win after taking that spill. I thought she broke her ankle, and I thought she was out of the game, honestly, when that took place.
She cracks me up in the diary room with just how country. I feel like she really puts on an extra country voice.
She totally puts it on. Yeah.
She's like
the producers are probably the producers are probably like, give it your most southern draw.
Like fruit flies in a berry bowl. Yeah.
You like it, but I think it's annoying.
I feel I've heard a lot of people say it's kind of annoying. I'm digging it. I'm just enjoying it. I think it's fun.
I got a great shot of her foot here, but this is mostly of Pooch volunteering himself to be put on the block, making things easy for Jasmine this week, which was such a boneheaded move. I don't know. Have any of these people actually watched Big Brother before?
They all claim to be super fans. Yeah. Every one of them claim to be super fans. and every last one of them are morons. I mean, I think the group they have in the house, like maybe IQ wise and like everything, maybe the smartest group they put in there, but there's no street smarts or anything to it. It's just maybe book knowledge, and it's nothing that has anything to do with, a social type game.
He felt so confident too the entire week.
I
I don't.
loved his smug ass walking out the door. Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, I don't think they either didn't tell him at all, or they told him like right before they evicted him.
At first I didn't think he knew, but now after thinking about it, I think maybe he knew at the last minute.
Oh, I don't think so, because he
You
had
don't think so?
when he left the couch, he ran to like a back room to grab shoes and like a hoodie or something.
That's what I was wondering. It didn't look like he was fully prepared to leave.
Yeah, because then he got his bag, so he had to run to another room, grab a couple of things, and then go, talk to Julie, who, yeah, that was a really articulate conversation
Plus,
he had.
they only just told. Apparently, they only just told the other guys. Now the current
Turner.
head of household, Turner.
Turner got the word last minute.
Yeah,
but
they
what
only
do you
just
think
told-
of the unanimous? I didn't think it was going to be unanimous.
I didn't either.
I didn't think there was no way, any way in the world that was going to be unanimous.
I didn't either. I thought at least Joseph would give him a pity vote.
Well, then I thought it was also going to be Monty, because Monty was on the fence, and if Monty flipped, he could have flipped Nicole as well. So it was. I thought it could very well be not a unanimous vote, but when it started, when Monty voted, and then when was it Kyle voted, when those started falling against Pooch, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be unanimous. And then he thought he was safe when he said he heard it was a unanimous. He thought he was the one, staying in the house. I'm like, man, I love that.
I don't know though, but I mean, look how he's dressed compared to, like everyone else was in athletic gear and stuff. So I don't know.
It's just casual. That sets him. But there was one thing, like when he was talking, I think he was on to something when they were the live show, because he was in there and his legs were bouncing. Like there was a nervous tick going on. And then when he stood up and when he was giving his speech, he was slapping his hands, slapping his legs. There were nervous ticks happening.
Yeah.
Like he knew something was coming, and he knew he screwed up.
I think either they told him or he got some vibes from somewhere. Like, oh no, this might not go my way. Like maybe he didn't know for sure, but that's what it seemed like. Because I noticed his legs were just going a mile a minute.
Yeah, and his pants that are almost
this little
capris he's wearing. They're a little short. I mean, they're short. Then they're short.
Just to rewind back here, this was not much to say here. This was the veto competition. Terrence is pretty slow in the middle. Ended up being Michael. Michael's getting the reputation now.
Michael is writing his check out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
You don't win these competitions like this back to back to back. 2 veto competitions and came in second in the HOH.
Yeah,
you're writing and once again, he is a self-proclaimed super fan.
Right.
Daniel even knew better. He threw one of the comps, so he didn't, win something again to make himself look like a threat. So
it's kind of a double-edged sword, because I feel if you get the reputation of being a comp beast, you're definitely going to be looked on as a threat. But I think this earlier portion of the game, you're almost looked at as like an asset. Like, well, if he's on our side, and if he's winning competitions, then that could be a good thing for me, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it really is kind of however the perception is in the house. But yeah, he's definitely getting that reputation.
I would almost rather be Terrence, quite frankly. I mean,
you would be Terrence.
I would be Terrence, yeah. I would rather be Terrence at this point, just because you dodged something week 1.
Right.
You dodged that, and that's all you really had to do. Now you're falling back, and if all these people are winning, the spotlight's on everybody else.
Right.
You're just kind of coast to a certain point, and then at a certain point you have to actually play to have a some type of resume to win the game. But just saying I got to this point because I wasn't being stupid, essentially, it says a lot too.
Well, so long, Pooch. We hardly knew ye.
I love the fact that he screwed the Pooch.
Pooch, want to go out? Pooch?
Oh, I
Pooch?
loved how he said you guys are gonna get more of Pooch next week. No, we're not even getting a jury, Pooch.
Nope, not at all. Unless there's some kind of buyback or something they introduced this year. I doubt it.
I hate that stuff.
Oh, you know what? I don't think so because he's been
No,
doing
because
the interview
Julie
rounds. Yeah.
and Julie told him about the alliances and
Oh,
stuff,
that's
and
true. Yeah.
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 He
But
won't
I
be
loved
back.
it when he was like, "They got my ass."
Yeah. What can you say? They got him.
Oh, that was
Here was
funny.
another competition that I thought was kind of cool. It was a little bit of a mix between I don't know, like musical chairs,
Endurance and kind of
endurance.
reaction.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty cool holding up those giant lighters, old school. Usually people just hold their phones up nowadays at
Yeah,
concerts.
now it's the big lighters.
Yeah.
Dude, I would have skewered my ass. I
Oh
would have
yeah.
missed the seat and I would have caught the
Mhm.
side right up the tuchus, and I would
You
have been
can see
hurting.
them. Yeah, look at these armchairs. See, they got the little part for your arm. That would go right up my butt right there.
Yep. I would
Yeah.
be sitting
They're
funny for a
tiny as
week.
hell.
Oh yeah. Or I would have slipped and fell down. This would not be a good competition for me. I would have been
Well,
out
so it's
pretty
funny
quick,
because
I
I
think.
was watching. Also, I was watching Dan. Is it Daniel? Yeah,
Mhm.
where was like always was tapping his leg behind him, like he was
Mhm.
using that back leg as a reference exactly where that chair was. And then right when he was like, "Okay, now I've gotten far enough. I don't want to have we haven't talked about the new twist, but he wants to control that a little bit." And then right when he said it, he threw it. I was like, "Okay, that's strategic enough for me."
I thought this was
Yeah.
interesting on two levels with this competition because not only was it for the new head of household, but it was also to determine who the duos are going to be, who
Yeah,
the
this Festi
Festi
Bestie
Besties,
twist.
yeah, are going to be.
I
Um,
hate the name of this, but
what? It's so cute, Festi
the
Bestie.
Festi Besties. No, I'm not
I
buying.
can't
It's
even
not.
tell you what gets in my head every time I hear it. Oh my
What?
gosh.
Is it
All
something
I can
dirty?
think of is like besties, testes,
The
and
Festi Besties.
and besties, besties, testes. That's all I
Oh,
hear in my head.
oh, that is amazing.
I told Christina she would be my Festi Bestie, and she told me that she probably wouldn't take me to a festival because I'd be too much of a grump.
That's
Like,
funny too.
you're not my
There's some
Festi
inside
Bestie.
baseball for you right there.
Yeah. But here's how the competition shook out. Here's a view of what the pairs ended up being. We got a couple folks missing there, but ultimately we've got we've got Joseph pairing up with Monty,
Monty.
right up top
What do you
there.
think of that one? I was shocked when they went ahead and he paired up together because that's the only one to me that truly doesn't make sense. They paired up and they're both
Yeah.
strong, which makes them
These
both targets.
they weren't thinking. They weren't thinking.
I
They
don't
were
think they
like
were either.
they were just like very surface level, like, yo, that's my dude. We can really win some comps. Yeah, let's
But
do this together.
on the flip side, the only thing is, Joseph isn't in that, was it Pooh's pack or whatever it is, Poe's
Oh,
pack or
post pack, yeah.
so I mean there is that. So Monty still has the safety in theory with that.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have two strong guys, you're gonna be a target, I would think.
It was funny how everybody had their own like interpretation and their own strategy as far as who the heck
Mhm.
they were gonna pick, going into this thing. Because it's like these two that were just like, hey, we're muscly bros, like we can really dominate, right?
Well, then
And
there
then you got the
was
pair next to him with Nicole and Taylor, and Nicole was all about using Taylor as a human shield.
yep. Well, then at the very bottom you have Brittany and
And
Michael.
Michael, yeah.
And it's like she was pissed.
Yeah.
She
She
was
was.
mad. The only person she did not want to be paired up with was him. And I
Right.
didn't. Did anyone else catch on to that? Like in prior episodes, did they show any of this like budding alliance thing happening between those two?
I
Only a
never
little
saw
bit.
anything. But yeah, but it was funny how she did not want to be with him, but he wanted to be with her because he knew he could, she would get
Right.
voted out before him. So
Oh,
I
yeah, and I
thought that
think
was
he's
funny.
right on target with that for sure.
Yeah.
And it was so funny, like, she could not hold it in, like, she was really wearing her emotions when
Oh
she was
yeah, she
talking to him
showed she was
after.
pissed when he was walking over.
Yeah.
But I think he is. I think he's full of himself as well. Like when he's saying, "Oh, why didn't they run that past me?" Well, why the hell do they have to run it past you? Who are you in the grand scheme of things? You're not. I mean, yeah, you won a few, veto competitions, but when it comes down to the size of the pecking order in these actual alliances, dude's on the bottom.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really mentions his name as far as when it's time to put people up until later, but he's not the target. But yeah, I can get that. As far as he's really not the top man on the totem pole in any of these alliances that have formed. But he's still the only thing that I didn't really care for this episode in particular was that he was pretty proud of his comp, wins, which, like we mentioned earlier, you get a stigma at some point being a compy. So I hope he's aware of that being a
Oh,
super.
he's not. He's self-absorbed. there's no self-awareness to this. I mean,
Who
yeah.
else we
Didn't
got
somebody
here?
say something to him about winning all those vetoes? I thought somebody said something to him about it.
I think Daniel might have mentioned it in a diary room or something, but I don't know if
Oh.
anybody's had a conversation with him one-on-one yet.
How about Alyssa and Indy? That's a
Indy.
weird combination of two.
Yeah, I almost think that's like the opposite, just kind of like the bros. Like, hey, we're a couple of girls and we'll get it done, or kind of almost like I want my partner to be like my friend in the house, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but I have noticed. I mean, even though they're looking that way, I think there's even because I think Alyssa's in that alliance, the same with Monty, but
Yeah,
Indy's not. So they tried to pair themselves up as much as they could that way,
yeah.
so they know that they would still have the numbers. And in reality, this twist doesn't change the game really at all, because if you have the alliance and you have the numbers,
Oh yeah,
it doesn't matter who you're sitting against. I mean, so I would try to pick someone that I wouldn't want to be with. I would sit next to, Taylor or, Michael, just to
right.
name two, or Turner. But I mean, we know now that he's not.
Well, it's all about your perception in the house because you could perceive, maybe, hey, maybe I'll sit next to Terrence and, surely I have a better social game than Terrence and they'll just vote him out over me, right? On the other hand, like maybe they would view me as a better target than Terrence because
Yeah,
Terrence isn't doing anything in the game. So maybe they vote me out just because Terrence is kind of a lump that's just floating week to week, right? And we'll just
just a
get
lump.
Terrence.
That's a messed up way to refer to Terrence.
Well,
Come on, just a
he's
lump,
barely been on the
just a
TV,
lump
man.
floating. Did you just call him a turd? That's messed
I
up.
think it probably came out that way, but I mean, there hasn't been many even scenes with Terrence. I think
No,
even
there's not. He's absolutely flying underneath the radar.
yeah,
They're not focusing on. There's nothing maybe TV worthy. I mean, maybe the meanest way
right.
to say it
Yeah.
that they can focus on. But guys, while we're focusing on Terrence, as Sean would have called him, the
The
floating
lump, the
turd,
floating lump.
the floating
I
lump.
did not say turd. I said
He
lump.
did not say turd. Turd came out of my mouth. I'll
Yeah.
take that. Go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I mean, does anyone hit the bell? I don't know if I even hit the bell on anything, but if you want to go ahead and hit that, to go ahead and keep up on our reactions here and everything else we're doing over on our channel.
And then the final pair here that we haven't talked about yet. Well, there's the final pair, but the one we haven't talked about yet is Daniel and Kyle, which is that one might be built for success, honestly, because I don't think anybody's really targeting either one of those guys. Daniel ended up
Kyle
getting away.
is, I
What do you
think
think, Kyle?
Kyle's in danger.
Oh, really? Why is that?
I think Kyle's in danger because him and Alyssa, those two batting eyelashes at each other, they're both going to screw each other over on accident. Alyssa's already accidentally spilling details to him.
Oh yeah, majorly.
When I don't even think she's realizing she's doing it. And I think in turn, I think he's doing it as well, but not as blatantly as she is.
I think this whole romance is manufactured by Big Brother. They're desperate for a showmance this season because none of these people are hooking up or even like they have a little cute thing, and he's ex-Mormon, so any attention a girl gives him is going to be like a big deal.
Oh, and a cute one at that matter. So it's like,
yeah, I guess, but like
you can't admit to that because you got your wife on here.
Yeah,
okay,
I will not agree or deny or co-sign. But yeah, like I really think the producers are just like making something out of nothing here.
Well, they had the whole bromance with Joseph and Pooch, and they were focusing on that, which was awkward,
right?
But it is whatever. But yeah, that's the only thing that's even partially a thing right now.
But they're kind of, I think those two, especially Daniel's kind of flying under the radar. I haven't yet, he was not on much this week. Given the fact that he was the first HOH, it's kind of surprising that he's gone that much under the radar.
Oh yeah, he's kind of completely slipped out of the limelight.
Yeah. And then finally, I mean, once we get our winner, basically we had
Hutch.
Amira. She came in second
Oh,
place.
I felt bad for her. I really like Amira.
Yeah,
I really like her in the house, and I was really pulling for her to win.
I think she's good, but I think she's viewed by the rest of the house as being good, which is bad.
That's true. She's
Yeah,
viewed as strong because every time that they look at the strong women, they look at her. They
right.
look at Nicole,
Yeah,
and they look at Alyssa. There's those three are the ones they look at. Like these three women are the ones actually running the house, and I don't not believe them. Those the three, like they seem like they've got what, three different alliances formed
yeah.
that they're in. They're kind of pulling the strings everywhere. So
She's like a leader in the Girls Alliance, kind of the one making the decisions, and then even in Post Pack or whatever, she's in that,
yeah,
and she's like kind of a forceful voice in that alliance as well. So I agree. Like I like her as a player. I just think I want her to slow down a bit if at all
they're
possible.
playing too hard, way too. I look at this as a game of like tournament poker. You don't win early, you survive, and
Yeah.
then you go for it later. There's too many people trying to go all in way too early. I mean,
Yep.
Paloma and Pooch are examples, and they're both out of the house.
Yeah, the classic thing that people say is those first like 3 or 4 weeks you just go to sleep and then wake up
Yep.
when once you're in and some people are out, then you start playing the game. But so she ends up with Terrence, which she was not really thrilled about. Visibly, you could see she wasn't really thrilled about. She really wanted that head of household.
Yeah. But she
Um,
did come out and say later that her and Terrence do have kind of a relationship, a social game together already. It just
yeah,
I think she was more disappointed that she lost
yeah.
that than she was
Mhm.
being paired with Terrence.
She also did mention that Terrence is not really a uh, competition winner. So that could either, I mean, that could either be helpful or hurtful for her. If it ends
Yeah.
up being in a competition where it's her against him, I mean, that's a good thing.
I'll
But
tell you, Jasmine's a winner in this case
oh
because
yeah,
she's safe
Yeah.
again.
yep,
So this is one
Mhm.
of the few times I've seen the head of household come out and not have to worry about being put up.
yeah. Yeah, she's pretty much safety for 2 weeks in a row. That's a huge deal in the beginning of the game. And it's funny. I don't know if Jasmine and Turner have like any kind of relationship or bond in the house. Doesn't seem that way.
I don't think so now.
But there he is, Turner. He wins. We barely seen this guy until he wins at a household, and then all of
Yeah.
a sudden they show us a bunch.
Well, the more that they were keying on him and talking to him, was like, oh, he won. I
Yeah,
was like, he's the one that's going to win him because then they're not going to continue to focus on somebody and not be the winner.
yeah.
Yeah.
Once he
Focusing
licked
on
his elbow,
licking his elbow.
yeah,
Yeah, he was licking his elbow. What do you say? All the capitals.
all the states like within
All the
13
states in
seconds.
alphabetical order, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, mumbling doesn't count.
That it sounded like mumbling to me too, but
I
yeah,
couldn't make out a word. I'm like, yep, nope, sorry, bud.
that was enough. Now he's got a real personality. I guess it's just as being a weird guy, and
Yeah, he
he's a
just,
rug maker.
yeah. He's definitely unique.
He kind of carries himself as a weird guy too. Like after when he won the competition, he did kind of like a moonwalk, and everybody was doing the kind of the standard, clap and cheer for him. But I don't
I don't know how
know.
well he's liked in the house.
I don't know either because we haven't seen any of them. Nobody really talks about him, so it's kind of hard to judge how well he's liked in the house. Yeah. But he won, and ultimately, he ends up having some conversation with people. This Festi Bestie twist, basically, he's going to have to put up a pair.
Yeah,
He's not going to have the decision to pick two individuals. It's going to be a pair. So he was going back and forth between either putting up Nicole and Taylor, which ultimately, Taylor would be up,
Taylor would have been the
third
target
time in a
again. Yeah,
row, or putting up Michael and Brittany, um, which ultimately he decides to do because I guess he's not a
well,
real
he's
big
looking
fan
to
of
get
Britney,
revenge for Pooch, and he's not quite sure
right?
what was the cause of getting Pooch out.
Does he think it's Britney?
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, he doesn't trust her for some reason,
Yeah,
but I mean, frankly, it doesn't. If one of them win the veto, I mean, he has a backup plan. Taylor's the backup plan.
right.
But frankly, if they put Taylor and Nicole up, I would not be shocked if Nicole goes home, just like how Pooch went home.
Yeah,
I mean, she's got the numbers, but it only takes a few people talking. Hey,
who's
this
the
makes
bigger
more
threat?
sense.
Right. Because ultimately Taylor, everybody uses Taylor as a shield. Not just Nicole. Everybody's kind of got that impression of her in the house. So it's like, well, you got two people up. Why not send out the one? Nicole's definitely viewed as more of a power player
Yeah.
in the house. So, but yeah, ultimately, it's funny. Every time the Turner was saying, hey, I got to get revenge for Pooch. I'm like, dude, you're gonna have to vote out the whole house then.
Yeah,
It was
that was
unanimous,
a
buddy.
unanimous vote.
Yeah, like I don't know what you're
And
talking
you
about.
voted for him as well.
And you weren't even on the TV. It was Pooch and Joe the whole time. They were the ones snuggling, not you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked how vengeful he was for Pooch, because I was like, I didn't even know they were, I don't know,
They were
close
that
like
tight.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I barely knew Turner was in the house.
Well, let's talk about this. I mean, we see who he nominated here, but let's go back and talk about the have-nots when
Mm-hmm.
it came down to Alyssa and Indy,
Yeah,
and Indy about flipped her crap.
I thought it
yeah.
was a joke at first. I didn't even realize she was being for real.
I mean, yeah, she was talking to Terrence, and Terrence was trying to calm her down, and he's like, you know what, you can be miserable in there without my help. Goodbye. And
Yeah,
I don't
she was
know.
not nice to Terrence. That was rude.
No,
She had a bit
there's
of a breakdown. Something stressed her out. Like this was getting the have not was like the straw that broke the camel's back somehow with her. I think she's just like stressed.
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed weird on how like she flipped, and it's almost like it almost plays into Alyssa's wheelhouse. It's like, you know what, you can flip out, you
Oh
can
yeah.
make yourself the target. I'm paired with you, but you can walk out that door. I won't. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was crazy on how just off hinged she went.
These twists are always kind of a lot of Big Brother fans hate these twists. They keep claiming like I just want basic Big Brother. I don't want all the twists and turns that they introduce each season. But for me, I kind of like it so far because it is so dynamic because it's both, right? It's like it's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing to be paired up with somebody because ultimately you could either be excited to have a strong competition or a friend in the house as your partner, or you could have, like you were mentioning earlier, a complete enemy or somebody that's like just a meat shield where you're happy to have them as a partner. So it's kind of the dynamic is kind of crazy how it ended up being. I think it's interesting, right? It'll make for an interesting few weeks because I don't see this twist going beyond 2 or 3 weeks at
Oh, I
most.
think they're going to last it till there's each pairs voted out. One person from each pairs voted out. I think they can go that long
Yeah.
with it. I mean, it'll be interesting if they would see. Now that I'm saying that, I don't know if they could go that long, because what if they want to nominate someone that doesn't have a teammate or a pair?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think the threshold is probably another 2 or 3 weeks, and then randomly Julie will be like, and the Festi Bestie, twist is done for the season, and everybody will be like, oh, thank God. That's how it usually goes, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to go all in on something, I think they should go all in on it, not go like just halfway. And I feel like that's kind of halfway. But I
Hmm.
mean, there's limits to what they can do. Like I was even saying, if one person's nominated from the group, they're both nominated. So
Yeah.
it doesn't quite it isn't you can't stretch that out too long without running into issues.
It's a numbers game, but as far as the house goes, I mean, that's what CBS has shown us up to this point. I know since then, I pretty much we only saw things through maybe Thursday or Friday. We have had a whole weekend that we don't know about as far as events in the house and what's going on. There are some spoilers out there. I don't know ultimately if the people that were put up this week are going to wind up consistently or continue to be the target by the next show. I'll say this: the next couple of CBS shows are going to be interesting because it sounds like there's a bunch of turmoil in the house over the weekend.
Oh, I like that. And I've been staying away from the feeds, and I know they shut the feeds off for a while as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, I personally don't like going to them just because I don't like ruining the TV experience.
Right.
So that's it. And I stay away from all spoilers online just
Yeah.
for the same reason alone. So if you guys are watching this and we're spoiling, well, thank you and you're welcome, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't have many. We're not a huge spoiler cast, but there's plenty of other venues out there if you want to be spoiled.
Yeah, we like talking
Uh,
about the week in review.
yeah. So that's going to do it for the second week. God, it feels like the sixth or seventh week in this house, but that's only the second week of Big Brother and our Big Brother recap, our Big Brother rewind. We'll see how Turner's house guests or the nominations, how that shakes out by the end of this week. But yeah, we'll definitely be back next week to discuss week 3.
Okay. And like I've said before, if you like what we're doing here, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Me and Sean are always here. This is Christina's, first.
Christina, you going to join us again?
Maybe.
Oh, we got a maybe
We
out
got a
of it. That's
maybe,
yeah.
success. Okay, guys.
I gotta get used to it.
Yeah, it's different. But I guess what we're gonna say until next time, expect the unexpected.
There you go. See ya.